Hello and welcome to Get Started. I'm Merlin, and last time we built and painted our first models, played our first game learning the ins and outs of moving and shooting, and now we get to add a new model to our collection, the mighty Space Marine Captain. We also learn how to paint with edge highlighting, and we get to know the ins and outs of close combat as we face the Swarm. Okay, before we begin, let's remind ourselves of our health and safety tips. 1. Make sure you're working in a well-lit, well-ventilated area, especially when using glues. 2. Make sure you have a flat surface to work on. This is helpful, especially when building models. 3. If you're a younger viewer, seek adult supervision when using sharp tools, such as plastic cutters and even hobby knives. And 4. Don't rush yourself. Take time to read through your instructions and learn to understand your frames before you make any cuts. Next, we've got a new tool that I'll be using later on in the video. This is called a pin vise, or more commonly, a hobby drill. I'll be using it to help pin a separate component of my model onto a sub-assembly stand. Perfect for helping me paint all the detail. Okay, if you haven't already, split frame D into the two components and put the Necron Overlord back in the box for now. We'll come back to him in a later video. But with your Space Marine Captain in hand, let's head to the table and start building. Okay, we're ready to begin assembling our Primaris Captain. If you turn to page 48 in your command manual, you'll find his instruction guide. But I'll be giving you a few extra tips along the way for how to build this guy. So, step 1, you require 3 components. You want D1, the front torso, D5, the rear torso, and your choice of either D2, D3, or D4, the head. So, let's start cutting out our components. Remember to hold onto the model in an area where you won't catch your fingers. Gently clip around until you can remove the component from the frame, like so. Right. With all our components clipped off and cleaned up, we're ready to begin our first assembly. So we'll take the front of the torso and with your choice of head, place it so the notch fits just there above the peg hole. Next we'll take the back torso, pushing the peg into the hole on the front torso, like so. There we have our first assembly. As I said, you're free to use any head you want. I'll be adding my own personal touches to this model later on, so I'll be changing out the head later. Next, we can build on our next assemblies. These are D7, D6, and D8. So, if we look on our frame, D7 is our power sword arm, D6 is our shield arm, and D9 is our tilt shield. So we'll clip these out. And get them cleaned up. Okay, with our next 3 components cleaned up, we're ready to attach them to our model. Take care when clipping out this component, as we have a rather fragile piece just here hanging from his wrist. So, first off, we take D9, the tilt shield, and push it into the hole on his breastplate, like so. Next, take D7, his power sword arm, and push it down in place. If you look carefully, the model is keyed in a specific way so that once the sword is pushed down, it will sit in position. And finally, our Storm Shield arm. Push it on just like so, and we're ready for our next components. Okay, the next components we need are D10 and D11. These form the Captain's mighty Relic Shield. So, D10 is the shield itself. We've got nice straight edges all around this, so we can easily cut the component out like so. Next we've got D11 up here. Take care when cutting out this piece, as it is quite fragile in a few places. Just carefully snip all the tabs until the piece comes away like so. Now we'll get them cleaned up and ready to attach to our model. Our components are nicely cleaned up. Now we're ready to push them together. So we've got 2 pegs here and here, and on the back of the skeleton we've got 2 holes. We want to simply push the skeleton till it's sitting flush with the shield. Then onto our Captain. We want to push the post on the end of his arm into the hole on the back of his hand holding his shield, like so. Next we come to the base. So, for our base we have 2 options. You've either got part 12, this nicely detailed full piece, which covers over the entirety of the base, which itself has the option of either a dead Necron or a small piece of masonry. But I'll be using part 15, the standard pile of rocks for him to stand on. So just cut these out, like so. And we'll quickly clean them up. And then this can be pushed, the 2 pegs, into the 2 holes on a 40mm base, like so. And we can finally push our Captain down onto the base. We've got a peg just underneath his left foot here, and a small nub here, which goes into the corresponding holes, the rocks. And our final component is his power pack. So this is component 8 just here. Luckily we only have 2 tabs to cut, but be careful of the iron halo at the top there, as that is rather fragile. So we'll make our cuts like so, and then we can clean it up. With part 8 complete, we're ready to push the peg on the backpack into the hole on his back, like so, and our Primaris Captain is ready to face the swarm. Okay, now we're ready for that extra tip that I told you about at the beginning of the video. So for this we're going to have to deassemble our model a little bit. We'll take off his left arm like so and separate the shield. Next, we want to hold our model like so, and then we're going to make a small incision just above here. So we'll take our pin vise, slowly start to drill and apply a little bit extra pressure. As you can see, we're drilling in like so. Just need to make a few millimeter incision. But once the hole's drilled, as you can see here, I've got an old flying stand. I've stuck it down to a spare 25mm base, and in the top I've got a length of paperclip. You'll need adult supervision for this because the tool we're going to be using is called superglue. This is a pretty noxious glue, so I do suggest adult supervision to help, but we need to get a small blob just on the tip of the wire there. Line up the wire with the hole and push in. We'll leave that to dry and then we can attach the shield, and we've got ourselves a sub-assembly to help with painting. And then we can leave our captain pretty much like this. You could even remove the backpack if you wanted. That'll make painting all the shoulder pad detail a lot easier. There we have it. Our Space Marine captain is built and ready to take on the swarm. As I mentioned earlier, make sure you have adult supervision if you're a younger viewer when using tools like the hobby drill, which can be quite sharp, and using materials such as superglue, which can be quite noxious. Even for myself, it does trigger my allergies. Also, use the same pinning method on the backpack for sub-assembling to make reaching all the detail on the shoulder pad so much easier. Finally, when you decide to glue your model, look at the yellow guidelines within the command manual on where to apply your glue. You don't need too much, just a small amount on each component to help meld them together. That's it for part 1. In part 2, we're going to be learning some advanced painting techniques. First I'll teach you how to relayer, and then I'll teach you how to edge highlight. This will bring out a lot more detail on your models. I've been Merlin. This has been Get Started. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.